Lesson 62.7, topic, ritual for good communication with the deceased, so they protect and care for your home and prevent any negative entities from entering. Greetings, brothers and sisters. This topic, depending on the culture of each geographical area, has multiple rituals. We will try to simplify it. The goal is to create a ritual that everyone can perform anywhere, as long as they meet the conditions, which are simple for most, and that ritual is maintained over time, that is, repeated periodically. So let's begin. There are two possible scenarios. You may know the deceased, remember their faces, or have met them, or you may not know the deceased who live in your house, but you know that they are present. Let's start with the first scenario. In this case, focusing on the ritual is easier, especially for those who don't have the sensitivity to communicate with the deceased. This is the most common scenario. People who have developed mediumistic powers are very rare, especially those with the necessary level of objectivity to receive messages clearly. We will proceed assuming this is the case, assuming you are not a medium. This can apply to everyone, but if you are a medium, you generally don't need to perform any rituals of this kind because communication is direct. If you are not a medium, the process is simple. If you know which deceased loved ones are present or absent and you want them to protect the place, and if you want to have a good communication with them, you must do the following. Place several candles on the altar. At least 3 or 4 lit candles are more effective. And place a photo of the deceased. Stand facing the altar. You can assume any posture you like. Generally, the most effective position for gathering energy and performing these rituals is the lotus position, known in the yoga as the posture in which the legs are crossed. Then you stand in front of the altar, either in this position, if you can't, standing or sitting in a chair, however you can manage. Keep your eyes open to make focusing easier, because the idea is that everyone can do it, even if they don't know how to meditate. Looking at the altar with the photos, what you need to do is concentrate on communicating with all your deceased loved ones, repeating the message, for example, please listen to me, I need you to speak to me, I need to hear your message, I need you to help me hear you, to manifest yourself so I know that you are there, and please help me keep the place where we live clean. You can repeat this message for 10 or 15 minutes, sometimes half an hour. If people have no prior meditation experience, it all depends on your mental capacity. Assuming people have never meditated before, it will take a considerable amount of time. This ritual must be performed every 3 days for it to have any effect, for the energy to be noticeable in the place, for a change to be felt in the house, and for it to become more habitable. Sensitive people will perceive the changes quickly. Those who are not at all sensitive will only notice the changes when the situation goes from normal to much worse. By then it will be too late, and therefore the problem will have to be addressed with other strategies, with greater aggression against the negative spirits. If you have communicated properly with your deceased loved ones, they know they need your help, and that you need to cleanse the place. In fact, once a certain amount of time has passed and the deceased have completed the required training after passing away, the period of time must elapse before they can put their knowledge into practice. Once these deceased have been allocated practice time, having completed the necessary training, the next step is to accompany the spiritual entities who are already experienced in this work and help them learn from you. Therefore, if you are performing the ritual to have them help you cleanse the house with the assistance of your deceased relatives, the effect will not be immediate. What will happen is that these deceased relatives will communicate with the spiritual entities who can perform this cleansing, because they come in a team of spiritual entities. Those entities will all possess great spiritual power and can fight against negative spirits once they have ascended sufficiently. If they have reached a sufficient spiritual level to be able to perform the cleansing, then it is very possible that, having a greater strength, they will be able to manifest themselves to you through alterations in physical reality. Therefore, you will be able to see objects moving, hear noises with no apparent physical origin, or even record their voices if you use any technological means to record their manifestation. This is a simplified version of what can be done as a simple ritual for everyone when you meet the deceased. In the event that you want to cleanse the house and need to ask for help from the deceased, and you don't know who they are, but you do perceive that there is a spiritual entity in the place, normally you can't perceive what they are, good or bad. Some sensitive people are able to do this. Usually, almost everyone can tell if an entity is good or bad, because there are symptoms. An entity that is usually good, you can feel warmth and with a negative entity, especially those that tend to be bad, evoke a sensation of cold. But it's not a cold where the temperature rises or falls. Sometimes it is, but it's normally a cold that is felt inside the body, inside the soul. So what you have to do is communicate with the spirits that are in the place so they can help you cleanse the house and prevent more negative entities from entering. Here is what you have to do. On the altar, arrange several candles, 3 or 4 in a line, for example. The arrangement isn't important. It's just that they are somewhat separated. They don't need to be very close together or touching each other. They should be a space of 3 to 5 centimeters between them. Then, in whatever position is most comfortable for you, stand in front of the altar. And what you have to do is the following. Visualize the candles and visualize the energy moving from the ground, passing through the chakras of your body from the bottom up, and the circuit is completed with the central candle, which gathers the energy from the other candles and acts as an energy concentrator for the rest of the candles. Another ray of energy emanates from this central candle, connecting the Father, and in turn, a very powerful field of positive energy emanates from this candle. You have to visualize all of this for 10 or 15 minutes. Every so often, you can invoke the spiritual entities and say, for example, I need your help, I need you to cleanse the house, I need you to not let any negative entities in. Repeat this periodically between each realizations until you have reached 15 minutes. You can do this every 3 days, for example, and you will gradually notice the effect. These rituals require perseverance and consistency, especially if the atmosphere of the place is very negative. You'll soon see the reward if you act firmly. Don't be alarmed if there are manifestations in the physical world. Negative entities that manifest usually harm the inhabitants of the place, while positive ones simply want to announce their presence, to let you know that they are there and they are there to help you. In some cases, they will try to communicate with you. Do this with caution. If you don't have any mediumistic abilities, don't try to communicate using a Ouija board or anything similar. At most, trust some EVP, electronic voice phenomena, but don't overdo it, because you could attract another negative spirit. The lower astral plane is full of negative, very negative spiritual entities. It is a constant battleground. Therefore, what I recommend, if you want to practice any kind of spiritualism to communicate with the spiritual entities present in the place and manifesting themselves, is to use the services of a medium you know who has great control over their energy. Those accompanying this medium should also have the same ability, and together they should possess a powerful energy and be compatible with each other. This isn't easy to find, but they are usually very effective and tend to cleanse places quickly. I've simplified the ritual as much as possible. I don't want to complicate things further. This is sufficient. I haven't mentioned using the name of any god for any religion or any religious object, because once you are invoking the spirits and positive energy, when you are closing the circuit that I explained earlier, from earth, chakras, candles, sky, and Father, I am communicating with the Father, and in this way, you can communicate with the Father so that he cleanses the place where you are. The spiritual entities only obey his commands, and the Father gives them the strength to carry them out. And that concludes this topic. I have simplified it as much as I can. So until next time, brothers and sisters.